I'm going to approach the intro to this video as if the viewer is familiar with Pokemon, but maybe not all the moves, and is not really familiar with competitive doubles. I'll start with an introduction of my team and the strategies they use, so if you want to skip all that and get into the battle, you can skip to the time shown on screen now. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, because if it does well, I'll be doing more of these videos in the future. Also, leave me a comment if you have a suggestion for my team, or a Pokemon you want to see me build a team around, and I'll try to do it. The first thing to know about my team is that it's built completely around the move Trick Room. Ordinarily, in Pokemon, all the moves are chosen, and the turn order proceeds in order of fastest Pokemon to slowest Pokemon. Trick Room reverses this order, so the slowest Pokemon goes first. The effect lasts 4 turns, and always gets used last, no matter how fast your Pokemon is, so setting it up can be, well, tricky. But if you can, it can turn some usually underperforming Pokemon into powerful fast sweepers. Another note is the existence of move priority. I have a lot of moves on my team that are increased priority, meaning they are moved up in the turn order regardless of the speed of the user. There are multiple levels of priority. Trick Room is negative priority, and moves like Protect have increased priority. My first Pokemon is Dusclops, holding an Eviolite item. Eviolite is an item that boosts the defense and special defense stat of a Pokemon if it's not fully evolved. Depending on the Pokemon, a not fully evolved Pokemon holding an Eviolite can be better than their evolved form. Dusclops' moves are Trick Room, Shadow Sneak, Nightshade, and Helping Hand. Helping Hand is a priority move that boosts the power of a partner Pokemon's move on the turn it's used. We will discuss the rest of his moves as they become relevant. Overall, Dusclops is slow and bulky, making him a really good Trick Room Pokemon and Trick Room setter, and also a very good support. My restricted legendary Pokemon is Calyrex, holding a Weakness Policy. Weakness Policy is a one-time use item that gives the user a 2-stage boost to attack and special attack when they are hit by a super effective move. The usual strategy is to use one of your own Pokemon to use a weak super effective move to trigger the policy while doing as little damage as possible. On my team, that move is Dusclops' Shadow Sneak. His moves are Glacial Lance, a powerful signature spread move that hits both opposing Pokemon at once, High Horsepower for ground coverage, Protect, which protects the user from all damage for 1 turn but can only be used every other turn, and Trick Room. Calyrex is a powerful Pokemon, but tends to soak up a lot of damage because he's slow. Getting him into Trick Room is the key to my victory. Next up is Willowboom, carrying an Assault Vest. The Assault Vest boosts special defense, but only allows the use of damage-dealing moves, so no Protect for Willowboom. His moves are Fake Out, which is a priority move, causing the opposing Pokemon to flinch, making them lose their turn. The catch is, it can only be used on the first turn after the user enters battle. Grassy Glide is a priority move if the grassy terrain is in effect, which Willowboom automatically sets up when he enters battle thanks to his ability Grassy Surge. High Horsepower for coverage, and Knockoff. Gastrodon is useful for his Storm Drain ability, which absorbs water-type attacks and gives Gastrodon a special attack boost. His item is the Rindo Berry, which reduces the power of 1 Grass-type move against him. He carries Ice Beam, Scald, Recover, and Earth Power. Indeedee is pretty much here to be paired with Hatterene, and that's about it. She carries the ability Psychic Surge, which sets up psychic terrain when she enters battle. The key part to her strategy is the move Follow Me. Follow Me is a priority move that redirects all single target's attack into the user, so my Indeedee can absorb the damage and keep her partner safe. She also has Expanding Force, which is a spread psychic move, Mystical Fire, and Helping Hand. Hatterene is carrying a Focus Sash. The Focus Sash preserves a Pokemon with 1 hit point when it's hit by a move that would have taken it out, but only if the Pokemon has full health when it's hit. She carries Trick Room, Expanding Force, Hyper Beam, and Dazzling Gleam. I know Hyper Beam is a weird pick, but I like doing weird stuff, and I thought it might be a good last move to use when Hatterene is down to her Focus Sash. Indeedee Hatterene is a combo that was really popular when I first started playing doubles in early 2020, but has pretty much fallen off the map. I decided to go with what I know and see if it's still viable in today's meta. My first opponent's team has 3 major ice weaknesses with the Rotom Fan, Crocodile, and Giratina, so I feel pretty good about bringing Calyrex. I decide to leave him in the back at first and try to soften the opposing team for a sweep. Dusclops is always a good bring since he's such solid support. I lead Indeedee Hatterene to start and get up a reliable Trick Room. My opponent leads with Giratina and Galarian Slowbro, and I bring out Indeedee and Hatterene. I go for the Follow Me to redirect attacks away from Hatterene so I can get up Trick Room. Giratina uses Shadow Force, which is a 2-turn move, so he won't hit me until after I have Trick Room up, which works for me. A Shell Sidearm that was probably intended for the Hatterene goes into Indeedee, doing just under half, so we can live another one if we need to, and Trick Room goes up. The next turn, Slowbro's Quick Draw ability annoyingly activates, letting him move first despite being slower under Trick Room. He takes Hatterene down to her Focus Sash with a super effective Shell Sidearm. She gets off her Expanding Force into the Slowbro before Giratina's Shadow Force takes her out. I could have redirected this attack, but Hatterene has honestly accomplished what I need her to by this point, and her death actually gives me a free switch into my Calyrex, which is beneficial. Indeedee's Expanding Force does some chip to the Giratina and takes out the Slowbro. My opponent sends in Rotom Fan as I send out Calyrex. I decide to go for a Helping Hand boosted Glacial Lance for some big spread damage. It's Calyrex's signature move, and it's super effective. I'm not really sure what Rotom Fan is supposed to do because I don't know if I've ever played against one. The Glacial Lance destroys the Giratina and brings the Rotom down to its Focus Sash. The knockout activates Calyrex's ability, Chilling Neigh, which boosts Calyrex's attack by a stage every time he gets a KO. The Rotom uses Discharge, which does negligible damage, but paralyzes both of my Pokemon, which isn't ideal as I could potentially lose turns. Out comes Crocodile, which is yet another ice weakness. It's almost funny how my opponent's team is not only weak to ice, but that he brought all 3 of his ice weaknesses to this matchup. There's no reason not to go for another Helping Hand boosted Glacial Lance at this point, which snags us the double KO and wins us the match. This battle was basically a best case scenario for my team's strategy, which works out nicely for the video. It was genuinely the first match I recorded. What really surprised me about this match is that one of my opponent's Pokemon, Chandelure, is a Ghost Fire type and resists my strongest attack. Chandelure also usually carries a move called Imprison, which blocks opponents from doing any move that it knows. People teach it Trick Room and Imprison to stop me from doing exactly what I just did. Not sure why that didn't happen, but I'll take the W. My next opponent's team is a little scary. He has Calyrex Shadow, who is super fast and hits super hard, Willowboom for Fake Out support, Whimsicott for support and Tailwind, and a Ditto. I've seen a couple Dittos lately, but I'd still say it's a niche pick. I go with the same picks as last time. My opponent leads with Whimsicott and Nihilego. Nihiligo's usual opener is Meteor Beam, a 2-turn move that raises special attack on the first turn and hits on the second turn. It usually gets used with the Power Herb item, so it only takes 1 turn total. I'm guessing the Whim is going to go for Tailwind, since Taunt or Encore would be bounced back by Hatterene's ability, Magic Bounce. I lead with Follow Me and Trick Room. I predicted the Tailwind, and my opponent goes for a Sludge Bomb, which again was probably targeted at the Hatterene. He gets a Poison on Indeedee, which isn't really relevant to me, and Trick Room goes up. Turn 2, I go for a Mystical Fire into the Whimsicott and an Expanding Force. Nihilego actually switches out and goes into the Ditto, which takes the form of my Hatterene. The Whimsicott had no Focus Sash, so it goes down to the Expanding Force, and the Mystical Fire defaults into the Hatterene. This lowers her special attack, which is a pretty nice unintended consequence. Mienshao comes out, which ordinarily means I have to worry about getting faked out, but Psychic Terrain doesn't allow that. I go for the Follow Me and the Dazzling Gleam as my opponent forgets that you can't use priority attacks in Psychic Terrain. The Dazzling Gleam takes out the Ditto/Hatterene and brings the Mienshao down to its Focus Sash. I have 2 turns of Trick Room left, so I decide to go for Helping Hand and Expanding Force again, forgetting the other thing Mienshao does, Wide Guard. Wide Guard works like Protect, but only protects against spread moves. It can also be used every turn. This isn't ideal for me as it wastes a turn of my Trick Room and I'll only have one left. Here's where I make a pretty big mistake. I target the Mienshao with Mystical Fire to get rid of the wide guard problem, and go for a not very effective Hyper Beam because it's my only single target move. Mienshao goes down and Hatterene goes down to her Focus Sash, doing less damage than I'd like on the Nihilego. Now the better move would have been to use a spread move anyway, knowing I'd be blocked, because then I could have guaranteed Trick Room on the following turn instead of recharging. Have I mentioned I'm not very good at this game? The Meteor Beam finally comes out, which is kind of wasted on the Indeedee in my opinion when he knows I have 2 healthy Pokemon in the back. Nihilego gets its Beast Boost to special attack and I bring out Dusclops. Nihilego's Sludge Bomb finishes off Hatterene, giving it another Beast Boost, which makes it a pretty big offensive threat at this point. But I set up Trick Room again with Dusclops, which pretty much guarantees me the win. A Helping Hand boosted, super effective high horsepower is enough to get us the second win of the day. My opponent and I both made a couple mistakes in this match, namely forgetting about Psychic Terrain and Wide Guard, but ultimately I thought it was a pretty good match and it showcased a couple of good things to look out for. Little things get overlooked in the moment of decision making and can often make the difference between a win and a loss. My advice to you is to always use the time you have on the move timer to think, no matter how confident you are in your initial move choice. If you enjoyed this video, I have 2 battles with this team on the way, and another team I'm building right now, so let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.